There he is. Right. Oh, you've caught me while I was having my soy boy. We're about to start low banking today. Come with. Today we're out low banking. I can't bring myself to call that a high banker, because let's face it, it's kind of stumpy. And in a never-ending quest to find more gold to fuel my soy boy habit, I want to show you a deposit that has been overlooked by a lot of prospectors. Gadsy and I discovered this side channel on Reedy Creek, and you can see that a number of prospectors have been here ferreting away at the ground. And it looks like they've done the traditional thing, which is hunt the main pay streak, which is sitting right in the bottom of the channel. But they've left all of this sand completely alone, which surprised me. Sand is the great hider of the creek. It indicates high friction where very small particles of sediment can drop out of suspension. And what's underneath that sand is often a flood layer that could be carrying gold. You can see that in this crosscut here. We have about a 6-inch layer of sand, and underneath that we've started to get gravel. Floods dissipate over time, and they can dissipate quickly or they can dissipate slow. If you get a lot of sand, it usually indicates that the flood dissipated slowly. It means the water level very slowly dropped over time, and as it very slowly dropped, it deposits more and more sand. But before that happens, the water is raging, and that means it's depositing gravel. Man, those skinny jeans are giving you a fair amount of movement, eh?
I know.
This is the gold that's just hiding underneath the sand. That is a reasonable spec count there. We've got about 20 pieces of gold. I know that's not a ridiculous spec count per pan, but running it through the low banker, we should still have at least enough to buy a couple more lattes by the end of the day. I'm gonna try and get, let's go for 8 buckets worth. That's a big chunk of jasper. In this spot, we do have to strip that top bit of overburden off. All of this sand that's been piled up here is going to be used to reclimate that hole after we're done. We both may suffer from chronic old man back.
Old man back!
Well, my little spray jets work beautifully. I mean, they're really ugly, but function away. Just because it's ugly doesn't mean it won't work well. Look at me. See how our tailings are going straight towards our pump? I'm going to dig a channel that takes them this way. The El Dorado Canal. It's smaller than the Panama Canal with less boats. A little bit of an update on the Mini Monster. I have added what is called a Jarvie riffle to the very top of the sluice. Couple that with these spray bars here, and we're about a 95% gold retention rate, which for a 5-inch wide sluice that is very short is pretty dang good. Yeah, there's just a little bit of black sand in the sluice block. There's actually quite a lot of space left in each of these riffles. So instead we shall test tailings. Tailing! And everything that makes a soy boy happy!
No, you could get that high pitch.
It's a skill.
Is it a skill or is it the tight pants?
You got me. Tailings is the one place you don't want to see gold. If you see gold in it, you've got to check either your flow rate of water, the angle on your sluice, or how fast you're feeding it dirt. They're the 3 most common things that will lose you gold. Mini loss, 0. 0 specs. Yeah, boy! There is one other reason why there might not be any gold in the tailings. There might not be any gold in the dirt. The other place that's really important to check periodically is the ground you're digging. It's very easy to punch through or past your pay layer. Periodically check it to make sure you're still on the gold. Is there still gold in the hole, Grace Feet?
Yes, there is, I think.
Oh, look at that! Yeah, we're catching fine gold. That is itty bitty gold, and we're doing a good job of retaining it apparently. I swear, if you have not installed a Jarvie riffle on your high banker, do it. I learnt that technique from the dredgers over in the US. They all seem to use Jarvie riffles on their dredgers, and I put one of them in my big high banker and I put one of them in that small one, and just the difference it makes is unbelievable. It's so low! God!
There's a bit of a spiky bush you've got there.
Hey, look. We don't kink shame here.
No, I know that. You should, like, shave once in a while, though. Like...
When I'm trying to fit into my tight pants, I always use Manscrape. Scrape my hands back like this. Manscrape. It helps me get rid of those tough, ingrown hairs.
Ugh. Anyway. We kind of lost the pastry because we went that way, not so much gold, but when we come back this way, much gold. And I think it's all due to this nice big piece of bedrock that's fractured and broken, and I'm going to try and use my massive soy boy muscles to move it. It's just a solid lump of granite. It probably weighs like, oh God, I don't know, at least two Tour de France's. Woo! Ooh. That's a heavy rock. Gadsy!
Yep.
Run that juice.
Okay.
This bucket of dirt came out with a lot of grey clay, and that grey clay is containing a lot more of this sort of smaller marble-sized pieces of gravel. It's a really good indicator that the ground has been sitting there for a long time. Yeah, she's full. She is definitely full. We're gonna do a clean out. I am not going to be fully cleaning this down on the creek. We're going to be taking most of this home to clean up on the miller table, but I can get rid of the blonde sands and have a sneaky peek. This is the super concentrates of 5 buckets. There's going to be some gold lost down in this catch pan here. And we only did 1 bucket from an area that I am supremely confident we're getting good flakes from. The rest of it's really fine. 5 buckets is about 100 litres or 10% of 1 cubic yard. The whole purpose of doing little runs like this is not to get heaps of gold. Ultimately, it's about proving ground. There is no point packing all your biggest gear with your most expensive pumps to run and wasting a whole bunch of energy for ground that isn't worth processing at that level. This little 7 bucket run is going to tell us whether or not it's worth bringing a big high banker out here. I'm not expecting to see a huge amount of gold in this pan just because we only ran a couple of buckets. But basically, as a general rule of thumb, every speck of gold you see is worth somewhere between 1 and 3 cents. And we have got gold in there. A nice smattering absolutely everywhere. Now that we're all done, it's reclamation time. That means we've got to backfill the hole so the bush returns to the way it was when we walked onto the fields. We need to collect this, and we also need to backfill the hole that we dug over there. Three minutes later and there's no hole. Obviously there was a lot of groundwater in there, so it's kind of muddy at the second, but that groundwater is going to sink into it eventually, and then that will start growing grass again. But for now, it's time to go home and introduce our gold to the miller table. While this gold dries, I want to share with you some complicated mathematics that will help you decide whether or not a deposit is worth bringing a big high banker out. We worked 7 buckets, which is 140 litres. We've already taken a sample from about 4 meters down and the gold remains the same. We know that pay streak is about 2 feet wide and the pay layer is about 1 foot deep. That gives us a total volume of about 0.72 of a cubic meter. So almost 3/4 of a cubic meter worth of pay dirt that we know of. And when you work that out in liters, it comes to 36 buckets worth. So whatever our gold total is today, we can times it by about 3, and that's what we would get if we worked that pay streak with a larger high banker, in theory. That right there is the product of 7 buckets worth of dirt, and we're going to find out if that deposit is worth taking a big high banker back to. I'm going to guess 0.3. Oh, okay, I'm going to guess 0.3. 0.39? 0.39 grams of gold is worth about 32 Australian dollars at the time of recording. And if we apply my really dodgy maths to the equation, it means that if we went back with a big high banker, we could possibly extract up to about $100 to $120 worth of gold. But that is a future video. Please give your dog a scratch behind the ears for me. Peace, and I'm out.